Hello, and a very warm welcome to this first webinar of 2025, which I'm delighted to say we're doing in partnership with Skyscanner, and it's appropriately named the Horizons webinar because today we're going to be dipping in to some of the brilliant Horizons report that's produced by Skyscanner every year. And here at the Digital Tourism Think Tank, we are very proud to be partnering with Skyscanner. So just a quick intro to myself. I'm Nick, and I'm the founder of the Digital Tourism Think Tank. And we'll be doing quite a number of these webinars throughout 2025. So be sure to sign up to our mailing list, follow us on LinkedIn, and stay tuned for future live events. But today, we're going to be deep diving on some of those insights. And I'm delighted to invite Zainab from Skyscanner to join me. Zainab, we have known each other for some time now, and it's been a real pleasure getting to know you over the last few years, where you've made such an amazing contribution to the Digital Tourism Think Tank community, sharing some brilliant insights. And I think just being someone who's truly inspirational and can really help many of our destination members and clients and partners to navigate some of the complexities. So I'm really pleased to have you join us. Maybe before we jump in, tell us a little bit about what we can expect from today's webinar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nick, for those kind words. And likewise, it's been a true pleasure working with you across the last couple of years, doing these webinars together and all the events that we hold in different tourism fairs around the world as well. So thanks again. And really great to be a part of this morning and afternoon for everyone as well who's joining from different regions. So I'm Zainab, and I'm head of destination marketing for the EMEA region at Skyscanner. I've been with Skyscanner for about 9.5 years now, and predominantly our teams are working with tourism boards globally to ensure that we are promoting the destinations in a way that's innovative, in a way that's efficient for them as well, and in a way that we're showcasing the off the beaten track places within destinations as well. So it's a true pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, Zainab. And maybe before we jump in, I think it's always nice to start with a little fun fact. So tell us a little fun fact about Skyscanner. What's one of those kind of interesting insights that people might be a little bit surprised to learn about that only someone at Skyscanner perhaps knows?
Yes, absolutely. And this fun fact, I think a lot of you will be hearing about this this year as well, because one of the things that we talk about at Skyscanner is our user base and user numbers in different sort of regions and countries as well. So the fun fact of today that I wanted to share was that India as a market has surpassed our other markets in terms of user base as well. So last time I checked the numbers, we've got more than 12 million users that are coming monthly to Skyscanner's platform to check prices for flights, hotels, and car hire as well. So we're more than happy to share, up-to-date numbers for all the countries that we have, but it's really great to see India taking off for us.
It's incredible, actually, to see how I remember Skyscanner from, I think, 15 years ago, right at the very beginning. And I was actually writing a travel column and somebody tipped me off. It was like a hidden gem. But of
Yeah.
course, things are looking quite different today. So
Yes.
it's really impressive to see how you've managed to dominate the Indian market and become a household name there. Well, you're going to share lots of insights, so we won't take any time away from that. Just for the audience watching, if you do want to ask a question to Zainab, or you have perhaps something stands out to you in the research and insights shared, you can use the Q&A if you're watching on our site on thinkdigital.travel. If you're on LinkedIn, you can use the comments thread. We will pull together those questions and we will relay them at the end of today's webinar. But for now, I'm going to hand over to you, Zainab, to take us through your insights, and I look forward to that discussion at the end. Over to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Nick. Thank you. Great. Well, welcome everyone again, and thanks for joining us today. For those of you that just joined the webinar now, I'll just give a very quick introduction again. So I'm Zainab, and I currently lead Skyscanner's team, focusing on growing and deepening Skyscanner's partnerships with tourism boards and DMRs in the EMEA region. And I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you a look at the travel behavior and insights that we're sharing from our Horizons report. So in terms of the Horizons reports, if you're not familiar with them just now, each edition provides a unique forward-looking view of changing and current traveler preferences and behaviors. And we started launching them during COVID, and due to the popularity and demand, they've only grown ever since. And this is a report that is based on our own search and booking intent data. So you know that it's actually based on real traveler behavior, and it's based on a survey of 19,000 travelers worldwide. So we're very much hoping that you're able to leverage these unique insights that I share with you today to help you reach travelers who are ready to be inspired in a meaningful way, and help you piece together different types of travelers of 2025 as well. But before I share a little bit of the insights, I wanted to sort of take you through our agenda just for today as well. So at the beginning, we're going to look at Skyscanner a little bit, and I'm going to talk you through who Skyscanner is for those who may not be familiar with us, and then reveal the Horizons report for 2025, including spending and planning behavior trends and factors influencing the destination choice as well. And towards the end, we're going to look at the top and trending destinations that we're seeing for 2025 too. And right at the end of the presentation, we've got a section around getting to the heart of the traveler. And I think this is really important when we talk about storytelling for our destination partners as well. Because at the end of the day, travel is all about experiences. And when we do come back home from our travel experiences, what we do is storytell. So getting to the heart of travelers is super important. And we're going to now talk about the rise of community and collective experiences as well, which is part of the report for this year. So moving on to who Skyscanner is. So I thought I'd share a little bit more about Skyscanner and who we are just at the beginning. So we are a marketplace in terms of travel in the areas of flights, hotels, and car hire, and the world leading one at that in terms of making sure that we have our unique users coming onto our site and trusting us every time that they want to book their next trip of a lifetime. So we have the world's largest air traffic audience, and we reach more than 110 million travelers a month, which is an audience that is highly engaged and growing year on year as well. And another fact about this is that 79% of our users are coming to us directly by tapping or typing Skyscanner into their browsers too. In terms of the prices searched every day, we are showing 80 billion prices every day to the travelers that are coming onto our platform, showing the best options that are relevant for them as well. And within that, we're constructing 30 billion itineraries every day. Just shows you the massive amount of searches that are happening on a daily basis through our users' platform. And in terms of connected to this, we have 18 million unique routes supported. So thinking of all the route combinations and all the places that you would be able to go around the world, we are showing all the best options that you would be able to find for yourselves and for your next trip as the most suitable option as well. But looking at this, not every traveler has a destination in mind. So those numbers that I just shared earlier are users that are coming in and looking for the next sort of destination of a lifetime that they want to take. But what we are finding out through our research is that travelers not necessarily have a destination in mind when they're making their first search. And we are here to inspire them as well. So via our Explore Everywhere feature, we are able to make sure that they're seeing the different prices for all the different destinations around the world as well. So when we look at the data around this, we are seeing that 51% of travelers coming to Skyscanner don't actually know where they want to go yet. They don't have a final destination in mind, and they don't even have the dates in mind as well. So we're here to support the choice that they want to make in the next trip that they will be taking as well. And this is where our partnerships with the destinations that we have come into play a lot, because this is the perfect time to tap into that audience, to look at, okay, they're in an open mindset, they're wanting to be inspired, and this is the time that we should be showing relevant content to that audience, so that you can take those travelers into your destination as well. And moving on to now our Horizons report. So with the breadth and scale of our global audience, we're excited to share this Horizons report findings with you. And as I was mentioning, this edition brings together our proprietary search and booking data of our 110 million plus users each month, with a survey of 19,000 travelers worldwide, to reveal a unique forward-looking view of changing attitudes, planning, and destination trends as well. And travelers are starting to think about where they want to go in the next couple of months and towards the summer as well. So it is really the perfect time to start sharing the most exciting industry and traveler trends that we're seeing on a global and regional level as well. So looking at sort of the travel propensity and travel spend at the beginning, what we're seeing is that 80% of our travelers globally are planning to spend more or the same number of trips in 2025 versus 2024. And within this, we wanted to then look at the traveler spending habits as well. So 70% of our travelers worldwide are planning to spend more or the same on flights in 2025 versus 2024. And 68% of travelers globally are planning to spend more or the same on accommodation in 2025 versus 2024. So again, for both of them, we're seeing that the spend levels are going up in terms of year on year. And the choice here is around flights and accommodation. So looking at long haul, which tend to be more expensive, our travelers are saying that they are willing to spend the same or more in this year as well, which is a great sign of travel recovery from all the way from the pandemic sort of era that we're seeing. And in terms of the biggest factors when choosing a destination, our travelers have told us that 60% are saying that the flight cost is the highest factor when choosing the next destination. So this is where Skyscanner comes into play. We're showing all the different sort of combinations that I was mentioning earlier in terms of route planning, in terms of different destination choices as well. And we're able to show the best options in terms of flight prices on Skyscanner, and helping our travelers understand exactly how much it's going to cost for their overall trip, really, to get to the next destination in their mind. And then 58% have said to us that hotel cost is the top factor as well. And as you know, on Skyscanner, we have our hotels vertical as well, where after making your searches for flights or car hire, you can also search and compare different hotel options as well, so that you can get a holistic idea of how much of a budget you need to go to the place that you have on your mind. And lastly, 36% said the cost of food and drink in destination is the most important factor. So we need to then look at what is the sort of content that we can put out there to showcase how much it's going to cost to be actually in that destination and spend time there as well. So as an example, if it's an itinerary for a long weekend, how much would it cost them to do things in destination, as well as the food and drinks part as well. And the same for a longer trip that might be a week or longer there as well. And moving into sort of the travel planning trends in this instance, we also wanted to look at in this report what is happening with our travelers in terms of the behavior when it comes to their travel planning as well. So we're looking at the 47% of our travelers feeling confident in using AI to help them plan and book travel. So AI is a huge part of our sort of daily lives now. It's becoming bigger and bigger as well. And Skyscanner is taking part in this too, in terms of making sure that we have an option to use AI when we are helping our users do their next travel planning there. And looking at the AI adoption of our travelers within the survey, we're seeing that there are 3 ways that our travelers are using AI. So the first one, at 35%, have said to us that they're using it for researching destinations. So asking questions like, what can I do in this destination? What are the places to see? What are the top things to do? And things like that. And then 32% are saying that they're using it to compare flights or hotel options. So looking at the hotel reviews, looking at different flight times, asking the questions around these things. And then lastly, 30% are saying that they're creating an itinerary, their travel itinerary by using AI. And of course, these are making the planning part quite much easier for our travelers as well. And it's really important that we are able to offer this on Skyscanner too. And this is where exactly our savvy search comes into play. So this is a new feature in Skyscanner app in terms of generative AI, and it's powered in terms of a search tool that we're calling Savvy Search that now allows travelers to search for destinations and discover new places and to become inspired for travel as well using natural language. So we're very happy that we're able to showcase this to our travelers and help them plan their next trip. Looking at sort of the other trends that we're seeing through our travelers who have partaken in our survey, they're also telling us, on top of Gen AI and everything else, social media is still the top source of travel inspiration. So 48% telling us that, indicating that social media is their main travel inspiration source. Then 44% telling us globally word of mouth is really important in terms of recommendations. And then 35% of travelers globally using online media for travel inspiration too. So it's very important for us to be at the right place at the right time to give the right message to the travelers as well. So we were talking here about small screen a little bit as well when we look at sort of social media. So it's really important that our app is able to do the generative AI sort of tools. And then we're also able to inspire our users through our social media presence as well, so that we can create that seamless experience of seeing, the new trends that are happening on social media, but then they're able to come to our app and make the searches that they want from what they've been inspired about too. And looking at the biggest factors around this, so let's say you're looking at your social media and you're being influenced by what you're seeing there. What are the actual things that are going to be influencing you to make that destination choice? Is the question here, and the answer to that is at 62%, our users saying that food is very, very important for them when it comes to destination choice. Followed by weather at 61%, and 54% saying natural landscape. So again, looking at the creatives and what destinations want to be promoting, this is really important piece of information here to think about content planning for the future as well. And then 52% saying culture and 47% calling out the attractions. And looking ahead and the future of travel, we asked a couple of questions around this in terms of travelers wanting to see sort of less touristy destinations. So we asked them, what would the next destination in your mind need to have for you to travel there? So 26% of our travelers are saying globally that they want to consider and they would consider less touristy destinations. And another 26% have also said that they're trying to make a positive impact when they're choosing that next destination as well. So at the beginning, I was talking a little bit about off the beaten track sort of destinations too. And this is where it comes into play. So with our destination partners, we're talking about how do we enable that geographical dispersal of the travelers that are searching for these destinations? How do we make sure that their itinerary involves different places that are not just the hotspots of any country or any of the cities? How do we get our travelers to learn more about these off the beaten track sort of places that are sort of maybe on the outskirts of cities and places as well? So again, thinking about the content planning and marketing around this, it's really important that we harness everything together around looking at the food and drinks parts that I was mentioning before, which is a high influencing factor, and putting that together with the less touristy places and off the beaten track as well. And what are then the top considerations when choosing lesser known destinations? So our travelers are saying that they would consider it, but they need to have some considerations in place when they are wanting to go to off the beaten track places. So first of all, 50% of the travelers globally identified safety concerns, because these places are not well known yet. So how do we make sure that we bust some of these myths that might be happening around some of these destinations? So talking to that 50% of our travelers, what are the sort of different points that we need to raise in our content, and then put that out there when our users are searching for those destinations. And then 32% of our travelers saying that identifying and understanding where to go is a top consideration. And this is where the explanation and descriptions and the descriptors of those destinations become top of mind. And then lastly, the 30% of our travelers globally also said that they don't have the confidence that there would be enough to do there. And again, this could be a myth-busting sort of content around some of those destinations as well, because there are many things to do in off the beaten track places as well as the hotspots. So how do we make sure that we balance sort of the content here to ensure that our travelers are understanding what different destinations have on offer as well? And now moving on to sort of the trending destinations. So here we're going to talk about regionally what are the different trending destinations that we're seeing through our data, and how are we sort of surfacing that as well to all of our destination partners, but also to our travelers too on our platform. So I'll be taking you through all of the regions one by one, and we're going to be looking at two different data points per region as well. So the first data point that I'll take you through is EMEA, and we're seeing that EMEA travelers are searching for hidden gems. So here on the slide, we're looking at the top trending destinations year on year on a percentage basis for our EMEA travelers. So as you can see, we've got Morocco, we've got two destinations in India, Malaysia, and then also Turks and Caicos as well. And you can see the huge percentage increases that we're seeing year on year in terms of the search demand of flights search demand that we're seeing into these destinations. So it's really great to see a mix of destinations for our EMEA travelers that they're searching for. And mostly these are long haul destinations that we're seeing as well. And it kind of ties really well back into the first couple of slides where I was talking about travelers are willing to spend the same or more when they're searching for their next destination as well. And moving on to the second part of the data point here, we're looking at the fact that EMEA travelers are exploring their own backyards as well at the same time. In this data point, we're looking at the volume of searches that are happening from EMEA travelers as well. So the first one was the year-on-year increase that we're seeing. So we're seeing, Morocco rising year-on-year. But on this slide, what we're seeing is that the absolute volume of the searches are remaining to be the short-haul sort of destinations. However, what's interesting for EMEA is that at number one, you are seeing Explore Everywhere. So that is our everywhere function where you can come into Skyscanner and search for everywhere and see from your origin destination to all of the destinations around the world and search for flight prices all at once. So again, that 51% of users not knowing where to go, this is exactly those users. And this is where we're then talking to our destination partners to say, how do you want to tap into that audience to make sure that they know about your destination, because they're very much open-minded at this point and haven't made a decision yet. So that's at number one at the EMEA. So there is a huge potential here for EMEA travelers to be influenced by different sort of content that we put out there. And then in terms of number two, we've got London, number three, Barcelona, four, Paris, and then five, Milan. So yes, EMEA travelers are exploring their own backyards. But again, at number one, we've got that undecided traveler to tap into as well. And then moving on to Americas, we're going to be looking at this the same way. First of all, the year-on-year percentage increase, and then the absolute number. So the first one with Americas travelers, they're looking for smaller destinations. So looking at that year-on-year percentage increase, we're seeing Tulum in Mexico. We're seeing São José dos Campos in Brazil. Again, Turks and Caicos has come up here for Americas travelers too. Krabi in Thailand, and Quepos in Costa Rica as well. So they're looking for smaller destinations. It's very interesting that these destinations are increasing year on year. They're making sure that they're talking to their travelers, making sure that they're explaining what the destination has on offer as well. And then in the other sort of data point around the volume of America's travelers searching for destinations, we're seeing that they're wanting to explore the biggest cities in terms of the volume of searches that we're looking at. So again, similar to the EMEA travelers, we're seeing Explore Everywhere at number one. So a huge audience here from our America's audience, which is growing exponentially as well year on year. We're seeing that they're open for inspiration. So any destination that's looking for more of the America's traveler to come to their destination, Skyscanner has a huge user base that they can tap into, where those users have not decided where they want to go yet. And then at number two, we've got Sao Paulo, then New York, and Rio de Janeiro. So we've got two Brazilian sort of cities there, and then also Madrid in Spain. And then moving on to our APAC travelers in the APAC region, we're seeing that the travelers there are loving the off-the-beaten path Asian destinations. So looking at that year-on-year increase in terms of the trending destinations and the upcoming trending destinations for our APAC travelers, we're seeing two destinations in India, China at number one, Malaysia at number three, and Saga Japan at number five as well. And then looking again at the volume of searches, the absolute volume of searches that we're seeing from our APAC travelers, they're wanting to go away to big cities across Asia, very similar to the trend that we saw in Americas. So smaller destinations at the beginning in terms of the trending destinations, then sort of the bigger cities for the volume. And then again, same for the APAC travelers as well here. And at number one, we've got Seoul in South Korea. At number two, we've got Explore Everywhere. So again, a huge number of users looking to be inspired for their next trip. At number three, we've got Tokyo, four at Bangkok, and five in Osaka, Japan as well. So again, two destinations here from Japan we're seeing. So in terms of wrapping this up, we also wanted to talk a little bit about what experiences are travelers searching for as well in terms of the next destination that they're sort of picking as well. So I was talking about the heart of the traveler and the storytelling part as well. So what we're seeing is that with our travelers, there's a search for community here as well. So our travelers are telling us that their next destination choice is connected to a sense of community and a search for community. So how does that work? So we've got these 7 different trends that Skyscanner has come up with, starting with sports mode for those users and travelers looking for the next sort of sports event and flying to a destination for that event. We've got astro adventurers, so those travelers who are looking for experiences in terms of looking at the skies. We've got reset jetters, those travelers looking at how they can take some time off and disconnect as well. And then art venture, again, travelers who are looking for cultural trips for their next experience. We've got Cowboy Core, we've got horticulture, and we've got gamification as well here. Again, these are all of the pieces that we're putting together around the rise of community, how travelers are wanting to go somewhere, experience a community, experience something that they feel that they're a part of, and then they're coming back and then talking about it to their friends and family as well. So at the beginning, we were also talking about word of mouth being such an important factor for our travelers coming back and recommending those destinations and experiences to their friends and family. And doing this with the rise of community, they're getting more and more things to explain, more and more experiences that they're living through in their next trip, and then coming back home and telling their friends and family as well. In terms of wrapping this up, I wanted to make sure that we've got a couple of key takeaways that I was just running through around the Horizons report. So very, very good news. Number one, we're seeing that travel remains a priority, both in the number of trips and also in the spending habits that we've seen through our survey. So there is a huge, vast number of users who are looking to be inspired, who are looking to go to a different destination as well. So in terms of the number of trips, it's not only one trip that we're looking at multiple trips that they'll be taking during the year. So think of that Explore Everywhere happening multiple times during the year as well, because they're open to be inspired for their next destination. And at number two, travelers are embracing technology and AI to aid planning. We looked at research. We looked at our Savvy Search app, in-app Savvy Search feature as well. So we want our users to interact with AI to help them plan their next destination and help them plan their next experience of a lifetime as well. And at number three, the search for community that I was just going through right now, and the collective experience that is driving traveler behavior. So it's very important for all destinations to think about this, because there are different sort of collective experiences that can be achieved in different sort of destinations that these travelers are wanting to go to. So it's very important that we plan our content, plan our communication and our marketing sort of techniques around this as well, to give them that experience that they can then come back and tell their friends and family and recommend them to their loved ones as well. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining our webinar with Digital Think Tank Tourism this morning. And if you'd like to check out the Skyscanner's Horizons report, here's the QR code where you can download the report to take a look at it through it yourself as well. And please feel free to get in touch with us. There are some of the data pieces that we shared from a regional perspective, EMEA, Americas, and APAC. And I'm sure there are destinations on this call who would like to understand a little bit more what's happening for their specific destination as well. And we're more than happy to share with you those data pieces to showcase what is happening around traveler habits, the search habits, the year-on-year trending destinations within your destinations as well, the cities in your destinations, and do a little bit of more of the data digging on our side to share with you as well. So please feel free to get in touch as well. And that's it from me, Nick. Thanks so much again.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Those are really great insights. I think reassuring is probably the word I would use to describe it, because, of course, we are living in somewhat challenging times. And I think what those insights really showed is, as you were showing, there's this huge propensity for travel, even in such difficult times. And as you pointed out there at the end, not only to travel, but also to travel multiple times throughout the year. So I think that's quite reassuring. It's a category where spend is maintained, and it's something that people really consider essential for their well-being as part of their daily lives throughout the year. And so I think it's a really reassuring picture that you showed there. I think one of the other things that really stood out for me is this: you touched on values and the willingness or interest from consumers in sustainable travel. And I think you really touched on that in an interesting way, that it's also up to us to make sure they're aware of those different values that are really part of the destination. You mentioned a bit about sending people off the beaten track, and it's certainly true that there is a role to inform and to create that inspiration. That perhaps in some destinations it's really about ensuring it isn't dismissed too quickly. There is a lot more to the destination than perhaps you might originally think. But I think in others as well, well-known destinations. I know you're based in Barcelona, and so of course Barcelona is regularly in the news. But there's a lot more than just those tourism hotspots. But that's a communication role. Are you seeing a
Yeah,
lot of interest
absolutely.
from the partners you're working with to try and relay and convey that messaging?
Yeah, absolutely. Our destination partners are actively asking us how we can achieve this collectively. We have a role to play, and they have a role to play. And our role is to make sure that we're communicating with our travelers at the right time with the right message. Because it's really important that if a user is searching for a certain destination, we know that they have an intention to go there. So we're at that first port of call, and then we can tell those destinations, well, look, we have a number of users having high search demand to your destinations in here. However, you've also told us that you would like to make sure that there is geographical dispersal happening from, let's say, that city or that destination. Then we talk about, okay, how do we want to message that? Of course, we want them to come to your destination as a country, but then how do we message the different places that they can see when they do arrive in the country as well? Whether it's, making sure that they are understanding that there is different destinations within that area that they're visiting, that they could do sort of day trips or small, itineraries that they can add on to their main trips as well. Because it's also helping the economies of those smaller towns and smaller places as well. And I think we definitely have a role to play there as well.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly clear that the point at which Skyscanner is part of their visitor journey, it's a really crucial tipping point where those decisions are still being formed, and that's part of the gathering and the research phase where you can really influence maybe even also the length of time and the kind of trip that they take. So I think that's really key. I love the fact that Explore Everywhere comes at the top of the rankings in nearly
Yeah.
all markets, because that is definitely a feature that I confess to using a
Mhm.
lot. And it's sort of a strange form of entertainment, I think, is browsing Skyscanner
Yeah, I
and
hear
just
that from a
seeing where
lot
you
of
can go.
people.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's quite unique to Skyscanner as well, in the sense that it is really the user saying, "I don't know where I want to go. Inspire me."
Yes.
So it seems like a brilliant opportunity to respond with something that can really shape their interests and
Yeah, it's
inspire.
definitely a conversation starter because we're again taking that user sort of data point that they're giving us. As you say, Nick, you're absolutely right. They're telling us they don't know where they want to go yet. Hence why they're doing an explore everywhere. And the other reason that they're doing an explore everywhere is also they want to just find out how much would it take in terms of a flight cost to get to different places as well. So there are a lot of campaigns that we've done with destinations where we're busting a myth around this long haul flight is going to cost them an arm and a leg, and that's not actually true. It all just takes a search that you do for Explore Everywhere for you to then see how much it's going to cost you to get to a certain place. So it's really helping us, talk to our travelers from a pricing point of view, but also a point of view of these are all the different destinations that you may not have thought about. Here is a huge list that you can just look through and understand, and then we take users into a sort of a user journey of the content piece that I was sort of referring to earlier. What are the things that we want to say at the right time with the right message to those users? Is it the often beaten track, right away, or is it something else? Is it about talking about the food and drinks? The cost of staying in the destination, and those are all the things that we then discuss with our partners to understand what are their needs and objectives as well.
Yeah, and of course that's also key to perhaps addressing to some extent seasonality, where of course the more price attractive destinations are going to be in the shoulder seasons and in the low seasons. So it's
Hmm.
also really showing the affordability of some destinations, which are perhaps not always affordable all year round. So I think that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
we'll jump into some of the questions we received, and just to say for anyone watching on the live stream, if you don't see the Q&A, maybe just refresh your browser. It should show up. So this is one little hack if you're not seeing it. Let's jump into the questions. So we have a question that came in the middle of the talk where somebody asked how much AI is shaping the way travelers search and book trips on Skyscanner. That's something you touched on a couple of times. And of course, you've delved into the world of AI. What are you seeing in these
Yeah.
early days?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of our Savvy Search sort of feature, this is right now only available in English language, and it's in sort of testing mode, and we're putting this out in more and more sort of markets as we speak. So we're in that test mode right now. We're learning as we go along, and we're optimizing as we go along. So I would say that we're in early days to be able to sort of give figures and facts around, how it's shaping it in totality. But what I can say is that there is definitely engagement on our Savvy Search tool, and it is helping our users to find that tool in Skyscanner whilst they're, in our app making those searches. And this is just only helping them go that further step to find more, different pieces of content, pieces of information as they're in that search mode too. And this can be used in combination with a lot of things. So we have to think about the user experience here. So when a user is sitting and looking at our app, what are the different things that they can be doing in one session, in one sitting? So it could be that they're doing an explore everywhere search that we're seeing, we're talking about, and then they're seeing a couple of different destinations that they may not have thought about before. They can then come back and use our Savvy Search tool and ask questions about that destination as well, and start that conversation. So it becomes more of a conversational piece in terms of the travel planning phase of the user journey.
Yeah, and it certainly seems that the use of AI in the Savvy Search is really tapping further into that undecided traveler. And you mentioned in
Mhm.
your presentation about the search for community. It's really a very interesting one because destinations are often very active in bringing events and festivals, supporting, co-funding, or just getting behind them. And these are huge drivers for
Yeah,
visitation in times when perhaps it's out of season. And I think this just kind of speaks to that even further, the fact that we can use natural language to say what we want rather than
yeah,
predefined dates and destination fields, which of course is normal.
yes,
That really kind of says, well, if I want to say I'm passionate about art or I love this kind of music, increasingly we're able to communicate that and see what could respond to that. So I guess it
yeah.
would be really interesting to see where that goes and kind of how we can really bring out those interests in how people search and discover destinations.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really important that we're doing this now in terms of the testing and optimization, because we can only learn with the user interaction of the tools that we have to understand what is the next step that we need to take in terms of making that tool better for our users too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what exactly people are searching for there. I guess that's something
Yeah,
you'll be able to share further down the line. We've also
absolutely.
got another question about what are some of the most surprising insights or shifts in customer patterns compared to previous years. So, how would you say you've seen Horizons evolve over the last few years?
I think the evolution that we're mainly seeing is that users are wanting to see new places and new destinations. So, looking at the off the beaten track sort of question that we had in the survey, we had quite a high percentage of users wanting to see off the beaten track destinations in their next trips. So I think that's a really important one that we shouldn't miss when we are talking about what kind of communication sort of techniques we're going to be using in the next couple of years to make sure that those destinations get a voice as well. So I think that part is really interesting. Another interesting part is the flight cost being a top factor. I think I mean, it is true. That is the first thing that user looks at, right? How do I get to this destination? So Skyscanner playing a role in this area and still being, the top player in this area is really important for us. Making sure that we come back to our travelers with all of the price options, so that they trust us to come back time and time again to our platform to do those searches is really important as well. And I think another shift is the right message at the right time. So when we look at the campaigns that we do with our destination partners, we're seeing very high engagement. So and that's testament to our targeting capabilities that we have on Skyscanner. So we're using all of the data that I was just sharing this morning to harness sort of audience segments based on past user behavior and search intent. Then we're talking to those users about what else would they be interested in. And using the ad tech capabilities that we have here, we're then talking to our destinations and saying, these are the users that you could be targeting, and these are the things that you could be talking to them about, because they have shown an interest in different kind of vibes of the destinations that they're searching for too. So it's really important that destinations continue to be a part of that conversation in the early journey, which is the upper funnel journey, as we call it, when users are just doing that initial search, initial finding out of, okay, where should I be going? You know, what kind of vibe do I want in my next sort of trip? Do I want, winter sun, or do I want something else? Do I want a more cultural trip? And having that data is very, very powerful. And us sharing that data with our partners is also very powerful. But on top of that, making sure that we invest in our ad tech capabilities that is then able to do sort of these optimizations, A/B testing with different creatives and things like that is also really, really useful and important for us as well. So in terms of shifts and trends, I think users are actually liking the content that they're seeing that is being promoted and put in front of them when they've done their past searches, because we're actually targeting them with very relevant sort of campaigns and relevant destinations that they might be interested in too. So
Yeah, great. And we've got a couple of questions about that, actually. Somebody asked if you can share more specific to their destination. And we've also just got another question, which was somebody, I think the 7 collective experiences really sparked some interest there. So are you able
sure.
to go into a little bit more depth or kind of relay what that looks like on a destination level?
Yeah, absolutely. So, firstly, we can, of course, share more data per destination. So, please just drop us a line, and we can, dig into what kind of data we're seeing for your specific country or specific city or region, and we can look at that holistically from a global sort of perspective as to who's searching for your destination and when they're searching for. One of the very important pieces of data that we share with our partners is also our lead time to search. So that really helps our destination partners to plan when they should be doing their marketing activities. So if the users are searching, let's say 90 days before, then you should be launching your campaign at least 3 to 4 months before, for you to then affect travel coming into your destination, let's say during the summer. So these are just some of the things that we will be able to share. And then secondly, on the topic of the trends that I shared, the 7 of them, we actually have separate reports for every single trend. So every trend has a couple of different destinations attached to it. And again, something that we can share with everyone as well after this. So those destinations have been picked by our trending destinations data, as well as our industry partners that we are partnered up with to see, okay, what are those trending destinations in terms of, let's say, the sports mode. Again, let's take the example of Bahrain with the F1. Have we seen that grow year on year in terms of the ticket sales that is happening to F1? Have we seen that year on year grow in terms of the searches that are happening to Bahrain as a destination? And then how is that affecting the destination itself in terms of overall halo effect and brand uplift as well? So definitely something that we can share. We've got different destinations for all of the different trends, and those trends are different per market as well. So it's a very, very in-depth report that can be accessed through our partner's website on Skyscanner.
That's great. And indeed, you actually have some great insights there. I mean, we've had a good look ourselves, and I think this is a treasure trove for destinations. But of course, a big part of getting those insights is really partnership and working really strategically, long term as well. You mentioned the lead time to booking. You don't want to just capture people at that last moment where they perhaps almost decided, but they can be persuaded, but
Yeah.
also help shape that interest in the first place. We're nearly out of time, so perhaps just to wrap things up, and it's maybe a given for you and I, but maybe not for everybody watching. What does a typical partnership between Skyscanner and a destination look like? Tell us how you work with destinations.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our global teams, we work with the premise of becoming a trusted partner to all of our destination partners. So sharing these pieces of data for us is a daily given. So we firstly sit down with all of our destination partners to understand their needs. And their challenges and their objectives for the year. So, firstly, we would love to hear from them and hear from all of you here as well on the webinar to better understand what is it that you would like to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. After that, we then look at the landscape of what's happening with your destination and with your competitors as well from a Skyscanner perspective and user behavior perspective. So we share a lot of data by looking at what happened in, let's say, 2024, what's happening year on year, what are the things that we could be doing to increase the share of voice of your destination with regards to the competitor set that you might have. And the competitor set piece is an interesting one as well, because we ask our destinations, who are your competitors, and they give us a list. However, from a Skyscanner side, we also have a list because we have that data piece. So we actually look at, well, you've told us your competitors are XYZ, but actually when we look at our data, your competitors are, more than this. We're seeing that they're searching for your destination, but at the same time, they're searching for these other destinations too. So you should be thinking about your competitor set a little bit differently. So we share a lot of data to do with that as well. We share past sort of campaign data and success stories as to what's worked well. We look at what are the ad tech capabilities that they should be, leveraging through Skyscanner and using. We talk about, brand campaigns in terms of different creative input that Skyscanner can also help with for their destinations as well. And it's a full funnel sort of approach. So taking our users from that awareness piece into consideration and right down into the booking flow, into actually booking a flight to come to your destination as well. So we need to be able to share that data all the way through. And we start doing that with our destinations. And once we have a clear picture of challenges, objectives, and the data piece that we have on our side, we then plan, what kind of campaigns would be helpful to increase, their share of voice, which could be one of their KPIs, or brand awareness, which is also a KPI for many destinations. Brand perception, again, another one that's a KPI for many destinations as well. Where we can, do all of this and launch the campaigns accordingly in target markets too. So we convey the opportunities that we see on Skyscanner. We hear from destinations what they want to achieve as well, and we sort of harness everything together to put together a 360 view of what we can do together.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Zainab. And of course, anybody who would like to get their hands on today's slides, the report itself, or have any other questions, can reach out in many ways. If you manage to catch Zainab's details there at the end, you can, of course, reach out directly. If not, you can certainly send us a message either by email or through the chat, and we'll be more than happy to put you in touch. But for now, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to you, Zainab, and to your team for pulling together those insights. They really are very varied and rich. So you provided, I think, a really great set of thought starters for 2025. And of course, we'll continue with this really engaging insight series throughout the year. So do make sure you follow, stay tuned, and most importantly, see both of us at one of the many upcoming events where you can see us in the coming months. So for now, Zainab, thank you very much. Thanks to your team, and thanks to our audience for joining and watching today.
Thanks so much, Nick. Thank you.